Kristyn Burtt, and we're in Cerritos, California. We're at the city's 50th anniversary celebration and car show. So let me think, what are we going to do here? We're going to take a look at some cars, talk to the owners, and of course, have some fun. With me is LEROY KEHRET. We have his beautiful 1930 Ford Model A sedan. Now, I think this is pretty interesting how you acquired this, because this is kind of a swap going on.
Right. I've had this just since December, but for about 35 years before that, I had a disassembled Model A Ford two-door sedan in my garage. I was always going to get around to it, you know.
I know. I was just going to ask you, 35 years. That's a really long time to have it in your garage.
It is, and during that time, you have kids and you have a career, and you know.
And your wife didn't complain about it being in the garage?
Oh yeah. But as long as I could get her car in the garage too, it was all right.
I'm surprised it didn't make it to a yard sale.
Well, she tried a couple times.
I thought so. All right, so you actually did a swap with someone that actually owned this vehicle, correct?
Right. In fact, the guy I bought it from has rebuilt about 15 Model A's in the last 15 years. And he said he had so much fun putting this in together that he was interested in my two-door.
Have you gotten the story of what has happened with your disassembled, now reassembled Ford?
I'm afraid to ask.
You should really find out and follow up with it, don't you think?
Right. He's out in Hesperia. I'll give him a call one of these.
All right, tell him I want to know.
Okay, Chris.
Now, taking a look at this vehicle, have you done much work to it, or was it in pretty good shape when you received it?
It was in pretty good shape when I got it. I've just eliminated a exhaust leak, but you know, it's a work in progress. When I'm as old as this thing, I hope I look as good. So.
You look great, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, do you do all the work yourself, or do you have to take it and have someone else do it for you?
I'd like to tinker with it myself. I know one end of a wrench from another, so I'm sure there are things down here that I won't be able to fix.
Well, that's great. Now, do you go out on weekends with it, or do shows, or just here and there?
Belong to the Model A Ford Club. We have different shows and meetings, and that all helps. And I haven't gone on any long tours yet, but I'm heading for it.
You're going to tool around the country in your vehicle?
Well, at least in California.
All right. I think you'd look good. You look good with your chapeau.
Thank you.
All right, LEROY, thank you so much.
Certainly.
We are here with Bart Bartholomew, and we are here with his 1931 Ford pickup truck. He has a great story about how he acquired this vehicle, or I guess the previous owner has a good story. So why don't you talk about that?
No, I was mentioning I got it up in Bellflower, and the man didn't know it was for sale. His wife had put it in the paper because she wanted a new roof.
See, home improvement is important sometimes when it comes to vintage cars. So you were actually in the driveway looking at it?
Oh yeah, it wasn't going anyplace. It didn't run.
So did he know that it was being towed out of there?
Oh yeah, he had to sign, but he wasn't eager to do this thing. He didn't put the ad in the paper, but he knew he needed a roof.
And how long have you had this vehicle for?
Just under 3 years.
And how much work have you done to it?
Lots, about 3 years worth.
Well, since it wasn't running, I'm assuming you added some parts over here. Engine maybe? Transmission? Anything?
That and more. Changed the brakes. It's got hydraulic brakes, which makes it stop. Steering gear, so it turns, and it stops and starts and turns. And
like a real car.
fun stuff, right.
Bart, you're a man of few words. You know that.
I try.
But it's got a lot of character, and who else has a lot of character?
I do.
That's what I thought.
Me and John Wayne.
You know, the early bird catches the worm when it comes to yard sales. And why do I say that? Well, that's might be the reason how you acquired your 1957 Nash Metropolitan.
That's correct. It's about 6:45 in the morning, and I bought it for $200 and spent $5,000 in a year and a half to restore it.
So you're just driving on by through the neighborhood?
That's right. And the neighborhood was having one guy was having fishing tackle for sale, and that's what got me in the area. I saw the car. And I asked his wife, and I said, hey, when are you going to restore the old car? And she said, oh, we're going to sell it. And I said, oh, how much? She said, oh, you can have it for $200. So I thought about it. I drove around, came back at 9:45, gave a deposit, and at 2:30 had a tow truck, had it taken home.
You move really fast, don't you?
Well, sometimes you have to.
Now, did you tell the wife, I'm going out to buy some fishing tackle, and you come home with a car?
Well, she was gone, and she showed up, and the tow truck was in the driveway unloading, and she thought, oh my gosh, what's he doing now?
You're like, honey, look what I bought you. Now, does she enjoy the vintage car as well?
She enjoys it. She likes riding in it. It's a stick shift, and she doesn't get along with a clutch, so I have to do the driving.
Yeah, I don't drive stick shift either. I think it's a girl thing, you know?
Yep. But it's a lot of fun. There was approximately, from the year 1954 to 1961, there was approximately 100,000 of these cars made in England for Nash Motors, and they was exported to the United States. And there's probably about 40% still running on the road throughout the world. We belong to the Southern California Metropolitan Club. We have a little over 100 members, and we have members that's even in Japan and Canada.
So it's a worldwide.
It's a worldwide.
I'm surprised 40%. That seems to be a high percentage.
It is, really, and there's a lot of parts still available. There's 3 or 4 vendors throughout the United States. You can buy practically anything you want for the cars, and it's a fun thing. We have a lot of fun with it.
Now, you spent about a year and a half renovating this, huh?
Yes, that's correct, and I did about 90% of the work myself. The machine work to the engine, of course, that's done at a machine shop. The upholstery work was done at a upholstery shop, and the front and rear windows were put in a glass shop. Other than that, I did everything myself, the painting and the body work, the electrical, and everything else.
And it was well worth it, wasn't it?
It was, and being a mechanic by trade, it helped.
Oh, I didn't know that. You kept all of your secret skills hidden from me.
Well, mostly what I worked on was diesel tractors and big rigs, but it's all mechanical.
It all translates to your Nash Metropolitan.
That's right. We have a lot of fun with it.
It looks like you do. Well, Bob, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you very much.
Gil Rivera is here with me and his 1968 Camaro. You know, I've got to tell you, this is pretty amazing because I know vintage car owners love their vehicles, but you've changed every single nut and bolt and nook and cranny in this vehicle, haven't you?
Absolutely, from the subframe to the rear end to the motor to the interior to taking all the paint off. You can't go any further than that.
That is a sweet paint job, as I like to say.
Absolutely. This color here is Patriot Pearl, a new 2000 color from Dodge, but I had to put it on my 68 Camaro.
A 2000 color on a 68 Camaro. You just had to have it, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, because I saw those big Dodge trucks driving by, and I know it's not a Dodge, but I had to have it.
Oh.
Eye catcher.
It is an eye catcher. I told you, I liked that paint job. The interesting thing, though, is Gil had this vehicle in high school.
Absolutely.
How did you save up for it?
Oh, a paper route and a lot of pulling weeds on the weekend and mowing lawns.
That $40 a month got you far, though.
Yes, it did.
Now, I asked Gil if he had his first date in this car and his first kiss, and if he took his prom date. Which of the three did you have?
Well, maybe the first date, not the first kiss, and the prom date, we just all went in a limo.
They were too fancy. Forget it. I wanted you to go in the Camaro. That's a nice car to go to the prom in.
Oh yeah. I always want to keep it at home sometimes.
Yeah. Now, you have a son that you said is 18, correct?
Yeah, he just turned 18 and just graduated from Lucerna High School.
And how often do you let him actually drive this?
Well, the last time he drove this car is when he put 2 dings in the quarter panel, and I had to have practically half the car painted, and that's the last time he's drove it.
How did he ding it?
Oh, he put his football gear in it, and these cars don't have that insulation, and he likes to turn corners quick, so things rolled around.
My dad would have killed me. Have you done like a ton of work outside of the paint job, like when it comes to the transmission and the engine?
I did the 327. It's got an RV cam. It's got double pump heads. It's balanced out. I put a positive rear end. I changed the power glide to 350 turbo transmission with the shift kit.
So are you testing out that turbo?
It does every once in a while, but I get carried away and I got to put it back in the box.
Oh, no fun. Is this your main car?
Oh, no, not at all.
This is your baby. That's what I thought. Gil, that's amazing. As I told you, I'm like, sweet paint job on that 68 Camaro. I really like it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, let me introduce my friend, Tom Conant. Did I pronounce it right?
That's right.
Yes. 1970 Chevrolet Corvette, the Stingray. Now, I love this because it has a great family history.
That's true. It's been in my family since the beginning. My dad bought it back in 1970. It was a strike-shortened year at the GM plant, and he waited and waited and waited for his car, and the factory went on strike, and they never built it for him. So he had to wait longer, and it was inspiring when he brought it home finally.
He had patience, didn't he?
He sure did, but he knew what he wanted, and he ordered it special, and they built it just for him. So they invited him to St. Louis when they rolled it out of there. He started it up. He was the first one to get it inside of it, and he drove it home from there.
That's amazing. They don't usually let you do that, do they?
They still do. It's a tradition for all Corvette owners. If you buy one new, even today in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where they're built now, the same tradition holds for that as well.
That's amazing.
It really is. It's an inspiration to all Corvette owners, really.
I love that. Now, this vehicle has gone from your dad to your brother to you, correct?
That's correct, yeah. I was the youngest. I was 11 years old when he brought this thing home, and not quite old enough to even sit behind the wheel, much less even do anything around the road with it. But I drove in it many times, and my older brother had it for his first duration of 15 and a half years, and he did a lot of the work on it that's done right now. I took over from there, and I've had it ever since.
Okay, we need to back up, though, Tom, because, see, Tom pretends that he just had the car, after his brother was done with it. But somebody drove it and then was banned from driving it again until he was 30. Who could that be?
Yeah, when I was in high school, it was my first opportunity to take the car to school, and I didn't really tell my dad I was going to take it. He thought I was driving the other car, but I snuck the keys from him, and I took it to school. I wanted to show it off. A lot of people then didn't have cars, and we lived out in a rural area of Annapolis, Maryland, at that time, and we tried to get be the show off, of course. And I brought the car to school. I did a burnout in front of the school, and I tweaked up the back of the car a little bit. So when I brought it home, it wasn't in the same condition. I tried to park it in the same spot. I even tried to hide it, but it's just one of those things. You're young, you're stupid, and you regret it for the rest of your life.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me
actual punishment was really worse. So he told me I would never drive his car again until I turned 30 years old. At the time, 16 years old, I was heartbroken.
Yeah, but you know what? He didn't tell me he stole it. You didn't tell me you snuck it out of the house, and then you tried to hide the damage. Tom, you're still sneaking out. Do you realize that?
That's right.
You left some details out of your story.
Yes, I did.
You know what? You can't drive it again until you're like 50. All right, are you going to let me sit in it now?
Absolutely. What, you want to sit in the driver's seat?
Of course I want to sit in the driver's seat. I'm not banned. You are. How do I look? I knew this was my car from the moment I saw it, so we won't tell Tom that I'm going to take it home with me. Except I need to learn how to drive a manual transmission. Minor technicality. Standing in front of Duke's 64. You'll have to see the license after because this is Duke and Shirley Miller, their 1964 Chevrolet El Camino. Now you're the second owner because you bought it in 1966, is that correct?
Yes, I did. But yes.
Did you have to do a lot of work to it in 1966?
Not a great deal. New engine and paint. Basically, that's about it.
Now, were you excited when he purchased this vehicle in 1966?
Really? Yeah.
The enthusiasm is overwhelming, Shirley. Have you helped him out with some of the work on this vehicle?
No.
So what has made you keep your beautiful car all of these years?
I just like it. I like it. It's a car that you can go out in, or you can go, carry stuff or go buy material or stuff. I use it daily.
You use it? Oh, you do? So this is your everyday vehicle?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did you do all the work yourself?
Not all of it, but most of it. I have the engine built by my cousin, and the rest of the stuff I help do it, But
so it's all in the family, really.
Mm-hmm.
Duke and Shirley, thank you so much for talking with us today.
You're welcome.
You guys are a lot of fun. All right, we are here with my buddy Raymond or Ray Espinoza. Don't matter, right? It don't matter. 1954 Chevrolet BelAir. This is a family vehicle.
Right. It's a family vehicle. My dad owned it before him. He bought it, and he was second owner, and he's handed it down to me, and now I take care of it for him.
What year did your dad purchase it?
Probably about 20 years ago.
All right. So somewhere in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s, right.
And how much work did he do on it?
He's really not too much work on it. When he bought it like this, it was originally owner, and it's got original 74,000 original miles on it. It's always in the garage. It's never been watered down. We always wipe it down, but we never let it rain on it. No, never has no rain on it, never had water on it or nothing. We just wipe it down, and that's the way it goes, yeah.
And that's why it retains its beauty.
Right, exactly. We always wax it once a month, and when we go to all shows, it only goes to shows only. We hardly ever drive it on the street. Once in a while, I take it out just to run the motor, get it going, but usually it stays at home in the garage. It's a good car. Like I said, everybody loves it, and I've had it in one wedding that was happening, and they want me to the bride and the groom got, and I ran it out to them, but I drove the car.
You're not letting anybody else touch it, are you?
No, I drive it, and then I'll take them in the car. And take them
Did you wear a nice little chapeau and a little outfit for the wedding?
Just a little outfit, a suit, just basically a suit.
So you look good.
Yeah, that's about all.
He's like, only I look good behind the wheel. That's it.
Yeah, so that's basically all I do, just drive it now and then. And like I said, Dad gets in it, and he drives it once in a while to shows and stuff like that. If I don't go, he'll take it. And
oh, you let him have it back every once in a while?
Yeah. Oh, got to do that.
You're a good son.
That's what I try to be anyway, yeah. Yeah, so, but big, that's about it with the car.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your Chevrolet BelAir. Jerry LALOLI is here with me. 1965 Pontiac hardtop coupe. Now, Jerry told me he's an original, as is his vehicle.
It's, what do you want me to say?
Well, tell me that you're the original owner.
I'm the original owner. And I bought it brand new in 1965.
Are you the only person that has ever driven this vehicle?
That's it. I'm the only one that has ever driven this vehicle. And it's all original except the tires and the battery.
That's pretty amazing. Will you let any of your friends drive it, family members?
Nobody drives it but Mr. LALOLI.
Mr. LALOLI. Well, you know, I've got to tell you, I mean, the paint looks amazing. Have you had to...
Original.
It's still original.
That's it.
You're not telling me any stories.
Oh, no, I'm not telling you any stories.
How do you keep it in such pristine condition?
Cover it up. You just cover it, put it in the garage and cover it up.
How many miles does it have on it?
45,000 miles. I just use it for car shows and stuff, so it doesn't get driven very often.
Jerry, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Billy Mesa.
That's me.
That is you. And your 1947 Chevrolet Fleetline. You have to tell me all about this vehicle. It's gorgeous.
Okay, I got this car in 1971.
I was born that year.
I built it myself. No bondo, all lead. I painted it. I did this one. I did the 38 Buick next to me. I did the two cars. When I bought it, I paid the big price of $1,200 for it.
$1,200, that's it?
That's when I bought it in 71.
Now, if you sold these
a
cars...
lot more.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you sold these, you get a lot more for that.
A lot more, yeah. Me, I'm crazy about Appleton spotlights. All my cars have Appletons.
Why do you like the Appleton spotlights so much?
I grew up with them back in the 50s. We always used to put Appletons on our cars. And I've got Appletons on all my cars. I've got 8 cars.
What else do you have besides the Buick Century and the Chevrolet Fleetline?
I've got a 35 Chevrolet. I've got a 63 Chevy pickup, a 66 Chevy pickup, a 67 Triumph convertible, 75 Volkswagen convertible, 63 Mercedes. I got a lot of cars.
So have you either built them or restored them all yourself?
I do it myself.
From the ground up?
From the ground up.
What got you interested in restoring vehicles?
I've had them all my life.
But did your dad or your grandfather?
No.
Just you're like a genius, Billy.
No, I just liked it. And at first I just used to just toy around with them. But back around in the 80s, I got into body and fender and painting. I figured I'd retire someday, so I needed something to keep me busy, and I got into this. I've had these cars since the 50s. I've always had 1 or 2.
And now you have 8?
Now I got 8.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
All right, Billy, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it. I promised you fun, and fun is exactly what we had out here in Cerritos, California. I'm Kristyn Burtt. We'll see you next time.